You are listening to the Blueprints Brocast with Jay Cruz
and Austyn Tokar.
I'll start over. Hey, what's up, guys? It's been a few weeks. I know it's been a little while and we haven't been as consistent the past 3 weeks. Is because both Austyn and I have had a lot of just life situations happen, and sometimes you just have to, prioritize what the things in your life are the most important. So like, this is something that we love to do for you guys, and it's something that we love to enjoy to do ourselves, but it's not our main like money maker, and it is not like the thing that sustains our life. So we've had to prioritize those things, and now we're back. Austyn, how's it going?
What's up? Yeah, those have been a rough few weeks now. Usually when we do these, we can kind of go back to back, so either stay over at Jay's house, whatever it is, and then we can do podcasts and talk about what we want to talk about, right? But past few weeks been very busy with work, onboarding a lot more clients, and then going over new systems in place for the team itself. So a lot of annoying things, but a lot of cool things coming up. But that is how it is. You got to prioritize other things and push some things on the back burner. Not that it's a bad thing, but everyone has to do that at some point in their life.
So even this week, Austyn's not able to make it up. So we're doing it through Zoom. I'm here in the studio live with y'all, and he's kind of remote. So I think for me, so a couple things that happen for us, income just changes sometimes. So for us, I've had to like shift gears and say, okay, well, what am I going to be doing? And so I think this is something that I should have been doing, months ago. But like, I've been starting to do like my own personal training here at the gym, because I have a unique opportunity. I can provide people with private training and one-on-one, like in their face, like training. So it's been fun. I've got 2 clients. I'm about to pick up potentially 2 more here in this next week. And they were from the previous clients because they've loved the first week that we've trained so far, and they love the attention that they get. So it's cool. I'm trying to make a commercial right now, kind of to like post on Facebook to kind of like let people know exactly what I'm all about without them having to like go through a whole spiel and like figure it out, but just giving them everything. And my prices right now are like super flexible. So that's another thing. Like initially I had like the pricing on there, and I'm just like, I want to make it affordable for people, but also obviously lucrative for me. It's not primarily a money maker for me. It's primarily like, I want to help people, but I want to make it something that I can make money off of too. So, I throw different, like, if 2 people want to work out together, I've been like slashing prices a little bit for them.
You got to sustain the system. You can't help others if you don't help yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And so the spots are limited though. So I can only do 20 clients. That's the max I can do. Once I hit, I think 18-ish, the price is the top price. And there's no leeway. And if anybody drops off, the next person that comes back will have the top price. So like, hey, if you want training and you're listening to this right now, whether it be online is almost like infinite spaces, not infinite spaces, but I have a limited amount with that. But I'm just talking about one-on-one in your face training. I only have 20 spots that I can fill altogether. So that's for me, like switch gears. Like, yes, I'm a stay-at-home dad still. I've been for the past 4 years, but I need to like switch gears into making some more money for the household. So that's where I'm kind of at. So some of the changes over the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, sometimes the new opportunities present itself and even kick you in the butt a little bit to do things that you were going to do.
Yeah.
Either through force or through like, hey, this is just something that would never come along normally, and now it is here, and I might as well follow through on this because, when will you ever get another chance to do so? Sometimes, that door just comes right in your face, and you gotta open it.
Yeah, I would say it's not something I was looking for, but again, I think Jordan Peterson wrote the book Hard Times Create Strong Men, or weak or.
No, that was another guy. He's a real estate guy. I forget his name, but
okay.
He does use that quote a lot.
Okay, and it's true. I've learned one thing I've learned, especially over the past couple of weeks, is like the space that we have here at this house. It's almost too much to where the family's like separated all the time, and I was almost tempted to tell Julia like, hey, we need to downsize even the house because we never see each other, But I'm trying to switch in gears to where I'm gonna have specific work hours now, where I'm just not over in the gym as much. and then like, hey, I'm back at home. So like the gym is officially like my workplace. I'm gonna be there 9 to 5, or actually earlier because my first clients are at 6:30 in the morning. So probably 6 to 6, somewhere around there, 6 to 4:30 when the kids get home, and then I'm in the house the entire time. So like, so that I can have a good work-life balance, like we talked about before, I'm gonna
Yeah.
force hours onto myself. What else?
Yeah.
What else you've been running into?
Oh, for myself?
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to expand on that a little bit.
Okay,
You
go
have to
ahead.
have that, like we had that talk earlier, and I believe on like 2 episodes ago. You have to have that separation from your work environment and your play environment, right? Or home environment. You have to make sure that when you're in there, you're focused on work and do what you need to do. But also, even though it's like a few steps away, you don't want to take that home with you, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to be working inside the house. The house is specifically for family, and then now the gym is specifically for work. But I mean, you can utilize it for other things, but primarily work stuff
Yeah.
goes in there for you. So just a reminder, keep things separate. Um, it'll save you in the long run mentally.
Oh yeah.
um, but yeah, for myself, what you guys got to realize, there's a 2 hour drive between me and Jay. Like sometimes, like it seems like it's a very easy thing to do, but if I'm only able to make it up there for one day, that's still 4 hours of driving. So you have to allocate that time appropriately on there. And sometimes it's not the most lucrative thing to do to go up there and you feel tired from the drive. So it's much easier to do like an extended stay over there
Yeah.
and be able to like, all right, I have a few days over here, we can work. It's you have to think of the ROI when it comes to that. It's like, okay, I'm able to go up here, but how productive am I going to be if I have to drive, get to work, then drive back? And I know some of you, you've either done this already or are doing it right now. You have to make a drive, a long distance drive, and you've done it yourself, like
Yeah.
an hour and a half day. And it's just like it's not the best for brain functionality, I guess
Yeah.
you could say. But the point is to provide better information, more quality calls. But so it's cool that we're actually doing this right now. Didn't think it would turn into this, but every time that I can't make it, now we have the opportunity to do this on here, which just opens the horizon for more things. Um,
Yeah.
Eventually we'll get to the point where we can put edits in here and stuff. You
Yeah.
never know. But yeah, so it's been busier with the change of direct. I wouldn't even say change of direction, just the more things we add into our system as a team. I'm not coaching by myself in particular. I coach on a coaching staff. It's all online, but it's still part of a team. So we have new avenues we bring in, we test things out, we get rid of what we don't like, and we keep things that we do like and optimize them as much as possible. So that takes a lot of time integrating new systems to use when you're changing payment processors, different apps to use. A lot of work goes into that, especially the marketing aspect too. There's a lot of things that happen on the back end that you probably don't see. You only get to see the good stuff. Um, it's I don't know word, it's annoying, but
Yeah.
you deal with that up front for later to deal with practically pittance on the back end.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking for here.
Yeah. And the funny thing is people like, hey, you're an online coach, you're an online quote unquote influencer as well. Posting and making content is not the same as marketing. They're two whole different things. So you're posting, and when we post anything online, it's to create value and to show, hey, here's kind of what the product you're getting. You get to know me as a trainer. You get to know what I'm all about. But I'm not necessarily like actively trying to find new clients through that post. That's a whole different realm. So like it's like a double duty to like just create your own content and like get awareness of who you are online, but then there's a whole different avenue of like, okay, now I gotta how the heck do I market myself? Like it's just a different
Yeah.
thing. So the one part for me, like that's easy for me to market is like, hey, I just can give you privacy. Like if you're tired of going to the gym and you have these tripods everywhere and you're afraid that you're going to walk into someone's line of sight, or you're going to be recorded and posted online, or hey, like maybe you're you're scared of people watching you feel uncomfortable. Like it's easy for me to market, hey, privacy and personally one-on-one training. That's an easy thing to market. But when you're what you're doing, you have to really say like, hey, this is what sets me apart, and this is what I'll bring to the table for you. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
On that note, man, I can't see, the more I see it, the more I get annoyed with it. Like the tripod users in the gym.
Yeah.
I'm cool if you use it, but to keep it out and like film every single thing you do, I mean, like, Come on, come on. There's a gym over here called Factory, and I don't know if any of the people that go there listen to this, but I would get some heat for it. But eh, literally every teenage kid has a tripod there. They're recording their sets, the whole session practically, trying to be an influencer. And it's like I get it. You want to do what you want to do here. That's
Yeah.
cool. But like, don't get mad when people are like walking through just trying to get to the cables, get to the dumbbells, whatever it is. You have a tripod set up and supersetting like three different exercises. Like that's where it's just too far gone.
Yeah.
It's
It,
gotten to that point. And I feel like there's a lot of other gyms are like that, but mostly though.
yeah. So like you don't have to worry about all that kind of stuff. And then like even so I've seen somebody will set the tripod up, you know, across the other side of the gym almost to where it's like there's like 25 feet between them and their camera. And it's like, how do I not walk in front of you? Like I'm gonna walk in front. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's just those things. Like they don't have to worry about wait times for machines, all kinds of stuff. So like it's been a fun process. You know what I like is that they're already talking to other people about their experience. Actually, they were here. Was it this morning? It was this morning. So I was training this morning, and it's two ladies, and one of them was like, "Hey, I was just telling this boyfriend and girlfriend that came over to my house last night about you know your training and how much we like it." And the boyfriend had lost a lot of weight, and so the girlfriend was trying to like catch up, and so she's like, "Oh, I need a trainer too." So she was like kind of talking me up, and then she showed her some of like my stuff online, some of the Instagram posts and whatever else. And then the girlfriend's like, "Ooh, okay, yeah, this looks really good, you know, like I want to do this." And the boyfriend comes up, he's like, "Oh, what are you talking about? Let me see." And he sees the videos. He's like, "Oh no, you can't work out with him. No, you can't work out with him." And then her husband was like, "Let me see." And he comes up. He's like, "Oh yeah, you can't work out with him. I won't allow that." You know, it was just funny because um, people don't understand sometimes. Like they watch too many movies and they're like, "Oh, I know where that's going to lead. I know what's going to happen with that." But you know, this is in my house, man. People come and go here all the time. This it's nothing. It's definitely nothing like that. So it's just funny the stipulations.
you, you know what it's from though? It's probably from the Tom Brady and his ex-wife
Oh shoot,
scandal.
that's
Yeah,
true.
that's popping right now. So people are probably like, "Dang, yeah, you never let your girl go around with a guy trainer."
Yeah, was it jujitsu?
Yeah, jujitsu.
Well, I mean that's obvious though. Come on, like you have to like roll around with the other person. Like, I mean,
Hey, well, either way, it's still the trainer, bro.
yeah, it is. It is. I mean, you can still. I believe you can still train stuff like that. Even wrestling, like when um, male coaches have to train, you know, female wrestlers in high school and stuff. You still there's still a lot of things you can do to keep accountability and to keep yourself above reproach, and you have to, especially in that
Yeah.
realm. But yeah, it's I get it. Yeah,
It's like anything, there's a few rotten apples in the bunch out there that ruin it for everybody. So,
yeah.
that's
But I
just how it
mean,
is.
dude, you are married to the inarguably the greatest quarterback of all time, but you want to leave for this random jujitsu guy. But that goes to show you that if you're just there, like if like they everyone, it doesn't matter what relationship you're in, they want your presence more than who you are.
Yeah.
Um, so
Everyone's susceptible to what it is. You got to be able to have a strong enough will to
yeah,
abandon that that influence.
yeah, yeah. So what else is going on? Because I mean, I don't know if you got other stuff that you wanted to chat about, and with this stuff specifically, what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I think one other thing that's happened in the past 3 weeks has been really difficult is, so at a church we've had a life group, and it's basically a group that you exactly what it's called. You do life together, and we kind of had like a falling out in there in the group, and it was really difficult. Like because we doesn't matter who you are, like everybody ends up doing dumb stuff at some point or things that aren't ideal. And so we had all of our like families like kind of like meshed together for like 5 6 months. So our kids were hanging out, we're all hanging out, and you know when you sever a relationship like that and then you choose to like cut people off, man, it's painful. Like even especially when somebody doesn't get like answers on the other end and you don't know why it happened or what was the cause. So we've been dealing with that actually literally for the past 3 4 weeks. It's been a little bit longer, but the actual like confrontational points where we had meetings and stuff to kind of try and figure out what was going on has been over the past 3 weeks. So it's man, with each time we had a meeting, there's nothing more emotionally draining than confrontational conversations. They're good when it's over, but man, I just needed to take a nap. Like I think we did it 3 times. After every one, I was just like, dude, I'm drained. Like I don't want to talk to anybody else anymore. I just want to like take a nap. And it was, yeah, I don't
I
have
do
the
think there is benefit to you know, you don't have to say confrontational, just like to the point conversations, like, hey, let's get down to business. Let's talk about this. Because how many people avoid those conversations, on a day-to-day life, right? And I was just talking on our team's Facebook group. We usually do like a Skype call every week for all clients, or people who aren't clients. We have a Facebook group. It's free. People join. We're just talking about having hard conversations with people,
hmm,
and like how many people avoid those and don't learn those skills to have hard conversations and build the confidence to do so when you need it. Like how many people they avoid talking to their boss and have that hard conversation with the boss, like, hey, I'm being mistreated, or their coworker that they just really get annoyed by, those type of things.
yeah,
Like how many people avoid those conversations because they won't do it once. When you don't do it once, it gets easier to do it again and again and again. And eventually you're just like resenting these people, and then, hey, it just might be a misunderstanding. I can't say for your situation specific, but
similar.
a
Yeah.
lot of the times it's better to have the conversation and figure out what is happening, what's the root cause, what's going on, and how can we, fix it or move on from this, whatever it may be.
Yeah, and the more you walk into like confrontations, not even confrontations, but like I would call them conversations that need to happen, because it's not a
Yeah,
confrontational unless you make it like a confrontational. But if it's just a conversation, open dialogue is probably a better
yeah,
word for it. Hey, we need to have an open dialogue, which just
yeah,
means, hey, let me express to you what's going on. I would love to hear your feedback. I would love to hear like your side, because I don't want to like take a stance like, oh, this is what's happening. I just want to say, hey, from my perspective, this is how I feel, and this is what I feel like is happening. Hey, can you explain to me these kind of things? And then you clear up a lot of things that could be an issue that aren't really an issue. It's like, um,
yeah,
you ever watch Hallmark movies? Any? Just one? You only need to watch one. If you watch one, you
yeah.
watched them
We're
all.
all the same. Yeah,
But the main thing is that the guy and the girl, they have some sort of miscommunication. One of them, it gets lost in translation, so they think, oh, the guy doesn't like me anymore, the girl doesn't like me anymore. So then they move back to their hometown, and then the guy's like, wait, what happened? I don't know what happened. She moved back, she didn't like me. But really, there was just a miscommunication. They liked each other all the time. It gets cleared up on the back end from through some gossip or something, and they're like, dang, I messed up. And then they eventually get back together at the end. But most times, I would say a very high percentage of the time, it's a miscommunication more than it is like someone actually intentionally trying to like harm or hurt somebody for any reason.
yeah. Uh, you really need to be open and receptive to those things too, because if you value the relationship or partnership, whatever it is, you have to be very open minded to anything that happens. You're like, hey, well, I don't have all the information, so let me take a step back and figure things out, and ask who I need to ask about it, and then dive into it and make your opinion from there. A lot of people just, they make snap judgments and they're like, no, it's this because I feel some type of way.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone gets feelings.
Yeah.
You're supposed to, somewhat suppress them down a little bit, like take a step back, let feel the feelings, but you need to be able to find everything out that's happening. And we do that through communication,
Yeah.
have those dialogues between each other.
Yeah, I think it's really sad to me that I'm finding this out like this late in life, like where you just, if there's a conversation you need to have, just go have it, and it's not that big of a
Yeah,
deal. But if you make it a big deal, then it becomes a big deal. Yeah, sometimes when you're going into the conversation, you have to make sure you consider the other person's feelings and not be too nonchalant about whatever it is. But don't work yourself up and make it so big in your own mind and your own heart that like when you get into the conversation, you're already frazzled and you're already just like, oh, I'm so upset, when you don't know anything. You honestly don't know anything on their end yet. And the worst thing is when the other you hear what they did from somebody else, and that third party has no idea what's going on, and that's where a lot of the
yeah,
feelings happen. So
yeah. Because what is that game where you're like basically passing on a story and you see how much it's changed by the time it gets to the last person?
it's
I
telephone.
forget what it's called, but
It's telephone.
telephone, yeah. Like that should tell you enough, like that childhood game, should tell you enough about how things get misconstrued through third parties, fourth parties, fifth parties. all the time. That's why you need to go directly to the source.
I never thought about that as that being the example of how gossip or how like stories, how it affects things like drastically. Actually,
Yeah.
Riley, so my oldest daughter, she had one of those issues where she was having an issue with one of her friends, and then she hears extra information from a third party. But instead of like, like, oh, that's what happened, she took the information, went straight to the person and said, hey, I heard this. Is this true? Is it like, is this what happened? She wasn't saying, hey, I heard that you did this. I can't believe you did that. Because, when you accuse somebody, especially of something they didn't do, like there's no quicker way to start a fire and to burn everything down than to accuse somebody. So you just ask questions like, hey, this is what I heard. Is this true? And then you allow the person to defend themselves if they need to, or just say, no, that's not true. And then it's over, instead of just like churning in your mind, oh, I can't believe they said that. And, letting it just fester in you.
And if you do accuse them, they might not have done it, but then they'll assume responsibility for it. They're like, so what if I did that? I've seen that so many times.
Oh man,
it's so funny how that happens.
I didn't do that, but so what if I did?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happens when you accuse someone. You immediately establish a wall from that person, and the conversation is pretty much dead from the get-go.
Yeah.
That's why you have to be very open and receptive to like, hey, let me show you. We're on the same team here. Like, we need to figure this out. And I think you learn a lot of that stuff through, jobs that provide some sort of framework of camaraderie, right? If you have like a simple on the desk job, like you're working by yourself, you might not feel that, but like from where you come from, you worked with a lot of teams, and even in churches, between groups, youth groups, whatever you said, groups.
Yeah.
I don't know all the groups, but there's always like a sense of being on the same team. If you played sports, same type of deal.
Yeah.
You're on the same team. You want to make sure you're not accusing anyone because they're essentially your brother, your sister. Maybe not by blood, but through bonds. You want to make sure that you're on the same page, on the same team, working together, not against each other. Because immediately, the second you work against someone, you accuse them of something, whatever it is, it's like you break bonds that way.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like when I see, if you ever go to a sports event and like, let's say it's football, and you got these two teams and they're playing the game gets really close. People in the crowd start talking trash to other people. And then all of a sudden it's like you're fist fighting somebody over just watching a sport. Like you're not even participating in it. Oh, this is my team. You start claiming sides and all these things. But like you forget that the one common thing you guys have in common is that you both love football and you're both there to watch a sport and enjoy it. But instead, like you're fighting over some, random thing that has nothing to do with you. And you get so heated, and you like this when you see these wild, videos of people like kicking people down the stadium and fighting fist fight. It's like you have a common thing that you guys both love, but you're fighting over the small difference that you just like this team and you like that team. But let's bond over the thing that we have in common. It's the sport. Let's be civil here. I would say it's even the same thing for, unfortunately, our country today. People are fighting over their sides of things, but like, hey, remember, we're all Americans still. Let's chill out and try to find like a common ground of like trying to actually progress forward. But man, we keep going further and further back with the division, rather than the things that we have in common.
Yeah, I have my thoughts on that, but people call me a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. Hey, and what's funny is you say that, right? But how many conspiracies were we talking about over the past 3-4 years that today they're true?
You just get labeled a conspiracy theorist whenever you have something that's against the grain. You're like, hey, doesn't this seem some sort of way? Then everyone's like, no, you're crazy, dude. You're a conspiracy theorist. It's like immediately they always shoot you down.
Yeah,
that tells you how many people are receptive to like open-mindedness, being very open to things. It's not even like you have to believe it from the get-go. It's just like, could this be a possibility? It's just asking the question more of, rather than assuming it's one way or another.
Yeah, I think if you're someone that just goes along with everything you see on the news, everything you see on video, everything you see on social media, like that's a problem. You should always question. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you sit on, whether it's conservative or liberal. You should always question even what's coming from your own people. Like, oh, is this true? Oh, let me do some research rather than like, I don't know whether you ever seen somebody, they watch a video and like, oh, did you know? But like, okay, did you see where that person, just because they're on YouTube and just because they sound professional and just because they have a nice camera, doesn't mean what they're saying was facts. But you all of a
Even
sudden,
us.
yeah, even us. It's like
Yeah.
what you do. Like a lot of times on social media, you will find something that somebody says, and you're like, "Hey, like this sounds good, but let's actually look into this and get the facts behind it."
Yeah.
Um, a lot of times it's just funny because I'm like, I'd never really like pay attention to it that much, but I'm like, a lot of fitness people out there, coaches, trainers, whatever it is, they teach things that like, okay, that'll work, but it's not as effective as you claim that it's going to be. Like almost anything will quote unquote work, but you know what you and I are into is, hey, trying to have the most optimal way for people rather than just doing stuff.
Yeah. You always have to make sure, like, you always have to have the information.
Yeah.
Ask the questions, make sure you know what's happening. So bringing it back to just like having those hard conversations, like, ask the questions you need to ask. Don't let things get out of hand. Do your due diligence. Due diligence.
Yeah, it's true. Um, what else?
I think that's been me for the past 3 weeks. It's hard. Yeah. We'll have to, it's always better when you have that time to visit and you're so for extended stay too.
Yeah.
It's just like you're more productive at that point. I think it comes back down to that. Um, bro, I will tell you that what I did do this past week that I haven't done in a while. I had 2 drinks 2 nights in a row, and that messed me up
Mm.
for like over the whole weekend. I guess I had a drink Thursday, I had a drink Friday, and the rest of my weekend was just like horrible. I don't think I can do that anymore. It's one, maybe total 3 drinks, but it's just like
A
that's
day.
so insignificant. No, no, no. Over the course of the 2 days,
Got it.
so that's like on average drink and a half
Yeah.
basically in that time. I'm like, man, I can't do this anymore. It's
Mm.
just not right. But as you get older, you start realizing things. But it's also like I don't drink ever, so
Yeah.
just like it was just funny to see. I was just like, man, it's messed up 2 days in a row for me. The 2 days after the drinking, so Friday or Saturday and Sunday. It's like, man,
Yeah, it's funny because like a lot of people that are out there, they drink often. Um, they have to drink so much because they have built up a tolerance to it. But it's like, hey, if you want to make alcohol cheaper for you and you want it to actually not have to drink so much for it to do something to you, drink it less often. But then there's this second caveat to that is the less you drink it, the less you want to do it. So you eventually just stop drinking altogether.
yeah,
But for me, like I'm the same as you, man. I'm lightweight. Like I never drink. So if I drink one thing, like I remember I was out with work, business trip, somebody buys shots for the entire table. And I'm just like, well, you can't turn it down because they've already bought it. And they, just passing one out to everybody. It's not like they're buying like the whole night of drinks. So I'm like, okay, just one. And it was at like this indoor golf place. So I do the one shot. And then I'm over here like trying to like hold the golf club and my hands are just like, I can't feel it. And it's just the worst feeling. So yeah, lightweight. I don't drink. I don't even like really the taste of it. So it's just not for me.
yeah. I I always drink something fruity if I was get an alcoholic drink,
Yeah, same,
whatever it is.
same.
But there is probably a point where it's out of your system for so long that when you do have it, it doesn't even loosen you up anymore. It just kind of makes you feel weird.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't like the feeling. It gives you anxiety in a way. For some people, that might be a type of weed. If they have weed and they never have it, that gives them anxiety. Same thing for me in alcohol. I'm just like, I get anxiety almost when I have it, if I have too much.
Yeah. The main thing for me with any kind of substance, I just don't like being out of control. Like I want to have control over my limbs, my mind, and any of that kind of stuff. I lose like control, even like for caffeine. So if I drink too much caffeine, like if my hands start jittering, I'm like, all right, went too far. I know my limit. And actually I've come down because you were telling me, hey, you're drinking 2 cups of coffee, so you're gonna be dehydrated. And I was like, well, I don't want to drink that much water, so let me just cut my caffeine in half and get as much water as I can in. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, just got to do the right things, make the right decisions. Sometimes they're hard and sometimes they're obvious.
Yeah.
So
Fun fact though, the half-life of caffeine is going to be different upon the individual. Well, it'll stay in your system a little bit longer, but 8 to 10 hours is what you want to aim for. Cut it out before bedtime.
Hmm.
Have it in the morning, brunch time, whatever it is. And then, once you get to that like 1 p.m., people they always say 3, probably
That's
sooner than that.
late, dude.
Yeah.
3 o'clock is
Like
late.
some people do that. They do 2 coffees a day. I remember when I worked at Starbucks in San Diego, the Sorrento Court one, it was a business district, and there'd be guys that would come in with what are they called? Ventis. They would have 3 of those venti cups of coffee a day. That's 1,300 milligrams of caffeine a day. I was just like, this guy's crazy.
That's
So
nuts.
I think that's like we talk about building up a tolerance.
Yeah.
Definitely built up a tolerance.
Well, it's cool, man. Thank you for all the updates, the life adjustments, the changes of like, hey, here's life, and you got to adjust. I think Mike Tyson, he's in fight, whatever his name is, but one of his quotes is,
Jake Paul.
yeah, one of his best quote I think is, everyone has a plan till you get punched in the face. And sometimes life, like, I have a plan, this is what I'm doing, and then life punches you in the face, and you got a new plan. I got to adjust. So
Yeah.
it's cool to hear you adjusting, and my adjustments have been fun. I really enjoy them. I never realized how much I liked training people. I mean, I guess I always did. I've been doing it for the past 10 years, but I haven't like been doing it. So it's cool.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It's another opportunity for you to grow. Uh, it's just in a new path. Could be something you delve deep into, could be for a time, but it's like it's an opportunity to try something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Gotta try something.